So it looks like we're going live in 30 seconds, 45 seconds. And looks like we're live, folks. Just a quick test. If you guys can hear me, let's get some handshakes in the chat. Are we live? Are we live? Yep, we're live. We're absolutely live. Hey, I want to thank all you guys for showing up and showing out tonight. It really means a lot. This is something that we're gonna look to continue doing. As you guys know, Wiseguy Investing, we're not just a stock and options trading community. We are a business community, and our goal is to help you, find different ways that you can create passive income and be able to live a financially free life. So without doing too much explaining, let's jump right into this. I want to welcome our special guest, Austin Rutherford. You can find him on Instagram at Austin Rutherford Official, on TikTok at Austin Rutherford as well. I'll let him share his story a little bit, but just to give him a quick introduction, Austin is a 27-year-old multi-million-dollar real estate investor. He started with nothing and came up and has really just blown the game up. He's going viral. You can find him on any social media platform, and he's really changing the game and inspiring people to do something that they didn't know that they could. So without further ado, let me introduce Austin Rutherford.
What's up, brother? Man, I appreciate you having me on here today, bro.
Cool. Awesome, man. Yeah, we appreciate you coming through. So let's jump right into it, man. So give us a little bit of history, a little bit of story about your background, where you come from and how you grew up, and then maybe just how you got into the business that you're in.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in Ohio, just in Columbus, Ohio. Grew up, my dream was always to go to the NBA. That's just always what I had in mind. And, I did everything in my power to get there. I'd work out 2-3 times a day. And that was the goal. So after high school, I went to Arizona to play at a prep school for a year. And, got to the point where I started hating basketball, hating basketball. And I never wanted to touch a rock again. So for whatever reason, I turned to books. I never read books in high school. I hated them. But I started reading books. So I read the book Think and Grow Rich, and it opened up my mind to the possibilities of how much money you can create in business. You don't have to be a professional athlete to get rich. There's a lot of other ways to make money. So I moved home, came back to Ohio after that, and bought my first duplex when I was 20 years old. It was a $220,000 house. Bought that when I was 20. Invested in a mentor at 21. Flipped my first house at 22. Made $103,000 net profit. And we've probably done about 300 deals, over the last 5-6 years since then. Anything from new construction to condo conversions to apartment buildings, commercial buildings, flipping houses, buying single family rentals. A little bit of everything in between. That's kind of what we do today. So I got the real estate investment company. I own a portfolio of rental properties. I have a data company. Like he said, I'm trying to blow up the brand right now. I believe eyeballs is currency in this day and age. So just trying to diversify. But that's kind of what it looks like nowadays.
That's amazing, man. And you're a true entrepreneur in the sense that you got your hands in everything. You didn't box yourself into just real estate. You took advantage of, the time that we're living in. Like you said, eyeballs is currency.
Yep.
So I want to dig a little bit deeper into your first investment, right? So you were 20 years old, you said, and
Yep.
you bought your first duplex. Tell us a little bit about how that came about. Was there fear involved? Because we have a lot of 20-year-olds who are still trying to figure out, how to tie a shoe. So was there, just walk us through that a little bit.
No, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of fear involved. And knowing what I know now today, I wouldn't have done it the same way. So I'll tell you how I did it, and then I'll tell you how I recommend doing it going forward. But what I did, so like when I was younger, I would save all my money. So I would cut grass. I cut the whole neighborhood's grass. I would shovel driveways. Snow day, I was the first one out the door in the morning, get into all the driveways. I'd make and sell Buckeye necklaces. So I'd pay my friends like $1 a necklace to make them, and then I'd sell them for $5 a necklace. I'd flip candy. I'd flip cars. I had a valet job for a year or two before I bought my first house. So, I was always just getting money at a young age. And thankfully, over all those years, I saved all my money and I didn't spend it on dumb things and go on vacations and buy, dirt bikes and things like that. So I had 40 grand saved in my name, when I was 20 years old. So I fell in love. I fell in love with the idea of passive residual income. Passive money is money that comes in without you ever having to work, and residual means that it comes in month after month after month after month. So money that comes in every month without you having to work, I was in. So that's how I got into owning rental properties. So I was looking for probably 6 months for a good rental property, and finally I got one that made sense. My mortgage was about $1,200 a month, and my income was about $2,500 a month. So I was making, $1,000 to $1,300 a month, barring a couple of repairs. And I loved it. So I put $40,000 as a down payment, and I bought the house. I still own it today. It's still a tremendous rental property. But now, looking back, there's a lot of other ways you can get into real estate without needing to have a $40,000 down payment, which a lot of people don't have. So there's things called like private money lending. So you can raise money from other people to fund your deals. So you don't need the money. Other people, there's ways that other people can fund the deals for you. Or there's something called wholesaling, which is basically connecting a buyer and a seller together. Seller at 100, buyer at 110, connecting the parties, and then you make the margin in the middle. Again, you don't need money to do that. So, our biggest wholesale fee is over $50,000 on one transaction that we never had money for. So looking back, I would have done something like that because, 40 grand was a lot of money and I blew it all on one transaction.
Crazy, man. Crazy. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into both of the things that you just brought up, because both of, wholesaling real estate, I feel like, because of people like you, Kong, there's Ryan Pineda, there's a couple of dudes on TikTok and YouTube that now it seems to be the hot new thing to talk about wholesaling. Whereas before I didn't know that those little signs on the street that said "We buy houses," that was what it was for.
Yep.
So yeah, for the people that don't know, maybe explain what wholesaling real estate is and means and how you can actually do it with $0 to your name.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's definitely a strategy that you can use with very, very little to no money. So what you do is you basically send out marketing, which looks like, driving for dollars, door knocking, cold calling, direct mail, text messages, the We Buy Houses signs. So you send out marketing in a lot of different ways, and then you get sellers calling you. And you get on the phone, property's worth 100, you get it in contract for $50,000. It's a great deal. So you put it in contract with the seller with a purchase and sale agreement, let's say for 50 grand. Then you go out there and you market that contract to a buyer for $60,000. So buyers buying it at 60 grand. It's still worth 100. It's still a good deal to them. You assign your purchase and sale agreement to the end buyer. So you use what's called an assignment of purchase and sale agreement. And then the buyer buys the deal from your seller for $50,000, but they're paying 60 because that's what they agreed to. So the seller gets their 50 grand and then you get the margin in the middle. So you would get the $10,000. So again, you can do this without any money. You don't have to buy the house. You don't have to sell the house. All you're doing is connecting two parties. And in theory, you're flipping paper. That's all you're doing. You're flipping a piece of paper and making money on the margin. Our biggest assignment fee was over 50 grand. Some of our smaller assignment fees are $2,000 or $3,000. So, there's definitely a lot of money to be made. You just got to understand the process. Like I said, it starts with marketing, and then you got to get the seller in contract to buy it. You got to find the buyer, and then you got to make sure it actually gets to the closing table and closes. And then that's when you actually get paid at the closing table.
Crazy, man. It's an amazing tool, especially for people that are starting out and don't have much direction. There's a lot of information out there for sure. Especially check out Austin's YouTube. I know he's just got tons and tons of information there. Some free game for all y'all. All right. So as far as the wholesaling process goes, when you said you got to close the deal, I've heard you mention before that sometimes when you get to the table, deals might not close, or like is there you know is there a process that you have to kind of hide that you're the middleman? Because if I'm the person that's buying the house, why would I want to cut you in as a middleman? I might as well just go to that person myself. So is there ways around that kind of thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there are going to be people that, feel some type of way about you making money, counting pockets. I've never understood it, but there's definitely people out there that do it. To answer that, I guess the last question first, why would somebody pay you an assignment fee? So my company buys deals from wholesalers every month. So, we paid a $60,000 assignment fee last week to a wholesaler because they made 60 grand and then we made 70 grand on the deal. So as long as there's still meat on the bone, why would I not pay them if I'm still going to make my money? So that's like why people do pay those assignment fees, is because you're still making money at the end of the day. But to make sure that people don't go around you, don't get it twisted. There are dirt balls in every market that will always try and go around you. So what you need to do to protect yourself, obviously have the property in contract, have it under contract, because once you have it under contract, you control the deal. There's a lot of people that will like kind of be talking to a seller, and then they'll call one of their buyers and they'll be like, yo, John, I got this property 123 East Main Street. The seller's thinking about selling. Would you buy it at 60 grand? And then immediately that buyer will call the seller and get it in contract around you so you don't get paid. So you don't want to market your contract for sale until you actually have it in contract with the seller. So get it in contract with the seller and then market that contract to end buyers. And even then, still, end buyers, it doesn't happen that often. There's always a bad 10% in everything. So there will be a couple of people that might try and go around your back and get to the seller, but you have it in contract. You control the deal. The seller legally cannot sell the property to anybody else because you have a legally binding contract. So what you can do too is you can file an affidavit. So when we can go super in depth in this, but you file what's called an affidavit, which means that the title company cannot close the deal until your affidavit is released. So you're not going to release the affidavit if they're trying to sell it to somebody else. So that's kind of the way that you protect yourself, but you have to have it in contract to do any of those things. The way I see most people fail is they're getting close to a contract with the seller and then they start marketing it and someone goes behind their back. So get it in contract and then market it to people. If you got like a mentor or something, somebody you like genuinely trust, you can call them and ask them questions because they're not going to screw you. But don't blast it to the masses because you don't know who's on the other side of that and you don't know their true intentions, and they might end up trying to go behind your back at the end of the day.
Let's open up that chapter that I think is very, very actually one of the most important things that you preach. And I think that it actually goes not unnoticed, but it doesn't get the attention that it loves. You tell a story that when you were, young in your 20s, you spent $25,000, on a mentor, which is
Yeah.
something that most people wouldn't even think of. Most people consider their dad or their uncle or, Johnny from the barbershop, their mentor. You went out and found one and paid. Tell us about that, the process, and what difference it's made on your career.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying to get started, you have to pay 25 grand for a mentor. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is I'm a big believer in using other people's knowledge. Why try and recreate the system if the system's already been built? It's going to take you way longer to do that than to just copy and paste. I spent over $100,000 last year on mentorships and masterminds because I'm continuously developing my mind and I'm learning from people that are in positions that I eventually want to be in. You don't want to have a mentor that's never done a real estate deal before. You want a mentor that's in a position that you're in. So I've always been a big believer in mentorship. So when I bought into the mentorship at 21. So when I bought into the mentor program, I have 25 grand to spend? Fuck no. I just put $40,000 down on a duplex. Like I didn't have that type of money, but I knew that like to get to where I want to go and the systems and processes that they could teach me, I knew that that was going to be how I could get there. So I literally maxed out my credit cards, went all in. I was flat broke at that point. I maxed out my credit cards. I had 18 months no interest. So if I didn't pay it back in 18 months, like I probably would have went BK because I didn't have the money to afford a payment on a $25,000 credit card. And I bought into the mentor program. And then the next thing that usually a lot goes unnoticed between people, the day I bought into the program to the day that I made money was a 16-month process. People see, the Rolexes, the gold chains, the Rolls Royce Wraiths, the vacations. Like, people see all that stuff now, and they're like, oh shit, he's living life. But they forget those 16 months where I was literally dead broke. I had over $500,000 in debt to my name. I had $100 in my bank account at times, and I grinded my face off for 16 months. I was working 50 to 60 hours a week valeting. I was going to college full time, taking 15 credit hours, and I was looking at houses and making phone calls to sellers every single day for 16 months. There was a time I was driving home from ballet at 3:30 in the afternoon. I fell asleep at the wheel, hit the curb, woke up. I was on the sidewalk and there's a light pole right in front of me. Thank God I woke up. I swerved back onto the street, went home, and got on the phone and started calling sellers. So there is a process to everything you want. The dreams of the riches and the wealth, or whatever your wants and desires are, don't happen overnight. Good things take time sometimes.
Yeah. And to that point, I think that it's easy to market when you're in a position of success because people see success and they want it.
Yep.
But not everybody wants to put in the work. And that's the difference between you and the guy next door, that, you who's leasing the house and the guy who owns the block, which is what I say.
Agreed.
So,
100%.
so I want to jump into a little bit deeper into that, the process of how long it takes. So it does take time, right? So kind of just walk us through your first rental, so your duplex, right? And then
Yep.
how you were able to scale that up. Did you have people involved, like friends and family? Were you fixing and flipping? Were you, I know you talk about the BRRRR strategy. Many don't know what that is. So maybe dive into that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I kind of have like two first deals when I talk to people. So like my first ever house was that duplex when I was 20 years old, but I bought it. It was 100% renovated. It was already tenant occupied, and it was already spitting off cash every single month from day one. So that was my first, investment. But what I kind of say is my first, like, getting into real estate investing was the first flip that I ever did. So like I said, the duplex I just bought, I put 40%, 40 grand as a down payment, financed the house, bought it, still own it today. It's a pretty simple process, but you need a lot of money up front to actually buy the house because you need that down payment. So, that was my first deal. But when I get into in my opinion, my first real estate investing deal, from the day I bought a mentor, invested in a mentor, I started marketing day one. So, I started sending out direct mail. I was on the phone. I was cold calling sellers, asking if they wanted to sell. I was dropping those bandit signs, at 2 a.m. on Friday morning. I was doing all those things that took to market to sellers. And finally, 10 months into that process, so 10 months of marketing every single day of my life, I ended up getting my first deal. So I put it in contract with the seller, and there were 7 siblings that all had to agree to sell the house. That was a nightmare in and of itself, trying to get them all to agree. But I got in contract for $74,000, and I called a friend of mine that I met at a real estate meetup, and I was like, "Yo, bro, like, I think I got this deal. Like, I think it's a good deal. Like, can you come to the house and walk through it with me?" And I was like, my goal was to flip it. I need to go raise private money because I don't have $240,000 to fund this deal. Like, I got to go raise money from a private money lender. But if I can't raise that money, I'll wholesale it to you, and then you can do your thing. He was in the business for years before this. He was like, "Yeah, for sure. I'll come look at it. I'd love to give you my opinion. And, if it doesn't work out, I'd absolutely buy it because I think it's a great deal." So we walked through the house. We left the house. He was like, "Yeah, bro, this is a home run. You definitely want to do this deal. But if you aren't able to raise the money, hit me up. I'll pay you 15 grand. I'll give you a $15,000 assignment fee, and we can move on." I was like, "All right, cool." So at the time, I'm 21 years old. I have this house in contract for $74,000. It's a $170,000 rehab budget. So I needed $244,000 in total. I'm broke. I don't have any money. So what do? I start looking for private money lenders. So a lot of people like say, if you're inexperienced, private money lenders won't lend you money. If you don't have a track record, private money lenders won't give you money. If you don't have a down payment, private money lenders won't give you money. That's all 100% false. It's 1000% not accurate. I had no construction experience, no business experience. no real estate experience. It was my first deal ever. So I started calling people and asking them to invest with me. So I actually called a lady that I met a year prior to that, again, because I was going to real estate meetups and trying to network and meet as many people as possible. Picked up the phone and called her. I was like, hey, we met a year ago. She was like, yeah, how you doing? I was like, I know you told me back then, you had some money and you were looking to flip your own house. Like, how's business going? She was like, well, I haven't got my first house yet. I'm just still looking for the right opportunity. Boom. I was like, perfect. I actually have this opportunity. I know you have some money. Like, you want to land on the deal? And she was like, yeah, actually, I'd definitely be interested. So I got that project again, first time in business, first construction experience, first real estate experience. I got a $244,000 loan to fund that transaction, 100% funded at 12% and 2 points. So I funded the entire deal. I had no money out of pocket. I did $170,000 rehab. That was a lesson in and of itself. And ended up selling it. So before I got to selling it, my contractor didn't, want to finish the job because he feel like he didn't get paid what he was owed. I paid him every penny that he was owed, but he just walked off the job. So the last 2 days, I literally slept in the house to finish it. So I would paint all day. I would put doorknobs on all day. I would, put in light bulbs all day. I slept there overnight for like 4 hours on a little love cushion, and did the same thing the next day, and then listed the house that night and sold it in like 8 hours. And I made $103,000 net profit a week after my 22nd birthday. So, $103,000, 16 months of grinding, and I was 22. What would most people do? They would go out there, take that money, take a trip to Miami, go buy the Rolex, go buy, some new fits, blow the money. But for me, I didn't do any of that. I literally reinvested every single penny. I didn't buy a pair of sneakers. I didn't go on a trip. I didn't even go to a nice dinner. And I went back to my valet job the next day. So I had $103,000 in my bank account, and I went back to valet the next day because I knew that that deal wasn't even close to what I wanted. I still wanted to grow. I wanted more. I wanted to touch M's. I didn't want to touch six figures. So I put all the money back into the business, flipped my second house, made 40 grand, quit my valet job, quit school, told my mom I would never graduate. Unfortunately, I was raised like go to college, get a degree, get a good job, go through the corporate ladder, and quit that. Told my mom I'll never graduate. Went all in on real estate. And like I said, we're about 300 houses deep, but it took me like 2 years to hire a real team. Now, I have an acquisitions team, a sales team, a dispositions team, a transactions team, a operations team, a full-time content team. So, it's grown over the way. And to grow a business, you do have to leverage other people's time eventually. But, I started from nothing, built it, went through the grind, went through the failures, made money, reinvested all of it, and continued to build it from that point forward.
Man, I'm so happy to just have you on the stream. I'm reading all the comments and things that are going through, and people, it's real. Your story is inspiring, man. You're still young. You're still hustling. You still got the same mentality you had the first day that you stepped in that first piece of shit house. Um, so I wanted to, you said private money lending a lot. We have a lot of people that have, never heard of that.
Yep.
What is private money lending?
For sure. So there's a lot of ways to get money. So, if you have your own cash, obviously that's very simple to invest. If you want to go get a mortgage for a house to buy and live in with your family, that's pretty normal. A lot of people do that. They call a mortgage lender, they get financed. But to do the deals that we want to do, i.e., is buy dilapidated properties that need fixed up, renovate them, and then sell them for a profit, to do those deals, there's usually two types of lenders that'll do that. And the reason that traditional mortgage lenders won't do that is because they won't lend on a property that needs that much work, because that's too risky for them. So there's hard money lenders and private money lenders. So hard money lenders are institutions that lend money to investors. So that's their business. They have a full business model of just lending money to investors. So when you go and apply to them, they do a credit check, they do a background check, they do a debt to income check, they get an appraisal of the property check. You got to go into underwriting and get underwriting approved checked. And then you got to pray and hope to the Lord that they actually fund your deal at the end of the day. And by the way, you got to put 20% down, and they keep the rehab funds in their bank account. They make you front the rehab funds, and then they reimburse it to you as the project finishes. So it works. You can do deals with hard money lenders, But like I just explained, like there's a lot of possible complications to that. The benefit of using private money lenders, one, they're private. You can't just like Google like, private money lenders. Feels that easy, life would be easy. But they're private for a reason, and it's 100% relationship based. So people that lend you money on the private money side is lending money to you as the individual because they believe in you. They don't even know about the deal. Like I just sent an email out today. I was like, yo, I got a deal. I need 90 grand tomorrow. And he was like, bet, send me the wire info, because I have that relationship. I've built that relationship that they're lending the money to me. They don't even understand real estate. They don't know what's a good deal and a bad deal and a comp and an ARV. They don't understand that. They're lending money to me because I built that relationship. So, okay, cool. That's great, Austin. Well, how do I get private money lenders? So the way that you get private money, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, like one of my friends says, like I could meet somebody one day and then they invest their entire life savings with me the next day. So I just had this little knack for raising private money, and I've raised over $15 million to fund my real estate deals. So the way that I've been able to attract private money is I put myself in situations where there's money around me. So if you go to like the corner store, there's probably not that many millionaires in there that are going to end up lending you money. You know what I mean? So you have to be around people with money. So you got to go to like car shows. You got to go to country clubs. You got to go to high-end steakhouses. You got to go to athletic clubs. You got to go to real estate meetups and conventions, because in those areas, people tend to actually have money. So you're not going to get money from somebody that doesn't have money. So go to those areas and meet people with money. The next thing you need to do is get them interested in lending you money. So what that conversation looks like, I'll find a way to create a conversation like, yo, nice shoes. Hey, that's an awesome jacket. Hey man, did you see the game last week? Oh, that's a great piece of steak. Like, what type is it? Like, create a conversation. Just say something, create a conversation. And 99% of the time, it usually goes to, all right, cool. Well, what do you do, Bob? Oh, well, I'm a doctor. I'm just out here with my wife. Like, how about yourself? What do you do? So when people ask people, what do they do? They're usually like, oh, I'm in real estate, or I'm an accountant, or, I'm a doctor. Like some boring stuff. Like nobody cares. Oh, I'm in real estate. Oh, cool. Everybody is. See ya. On to the next. So you need to say something that sparks their interest. You have to get them interested in learning more about you. So when people ask me, what do? I say, actually, I'm a real estate investor, and I teach other people how to invest their money in real estate 100% passively. That sounds a lot better than I'm in real estate. Or, I'm actually a real estate developer, and I use other people's money to fund all of my deals, and I pay up to a double-digit return sometimes. Well, what do you mean? How do you use other people's money? And then your foot's in the door. You need to create that curiosity from somebody to then be able to pitch them on being a private money lender with you. So, like I said, those are the lines that I use, and you can use this in anything in life, keep in mind. If I meet an 18-year-old kid and I get out of the Rolls Royce Wraith, and I valet, I hop out the Wraith, and there's a young kid like, bro, that's an awesome car, man. What do you do? I don't tell the 18-year-old kid like, oh yeah, I'm in real estate and I teach other people how to invest their money in real estate, because they don't have any money. You can spin it to whatever situation that you're in. So in situations like that, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm an entrepreneur. I actually teach other people how to get rich. Well, I want to get rich. How do you teach other people to get rich? Conversation, curiosity. So you have to get them interested in wanting to learn more about what you do. And specifically for private money, the way that I do that is I say I'm a real estate developer and I use other people's money to fund my deals. Or actually, I teach other people how to passively invest in real estate and earn up to double-digit returns potentially. And then, it's just like talking to sellers. You got to talk to 100 sellers, make 20 offers to get one offer accepted. You got to talk to 100 private money lenders, and 5 of them are going to ask you, well, what does that mean? You use other people's money. And then you got to pitch those 5 people, and one person might end up lending you money. So it's a numbers game. You just got to talk, you got to have conversations, and you got to build relationships at the end of the day.
I've kept up with you for a while now, and you always share a message to your followers that a lot of people learn, but they don't take the leap.
Yep.
And I think that with real estate, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but real estate's one of those things where a lot of people learn and they listen and they want it, but they're too afraid to take this leap because they think that it's such a financial burden on their life. It's, I don't know how to build a house. I don't know how to do construction. I can't fix a floor. you name it, throw it against the wall. It's all excuses. Talk about some of those growing pains and the fears, and some of the things that you had to learn. A lot of the stuff you have to learn on your own, right? Like construction and dealing with contractors, and not getting shook down for doing a roof for 3 times the price you should. Talk about some of those growing pains early on that can maybe help these people avoid speed bumps, road
For
bumps.
sure. No, absolutely, man. The first thing is like the scared part is, not knowing if you should get in or if you're going to lose it all or if it's a good idea or a bad idea. Let me just put it blunt. Everybody who's a success, everybody who's made money had those same fears at one point. Nobody came out the womb like, oh, I'm just going to nosedive off a cliff and pray for the best. Like nobody's built like that. Everybody has fears when they get started in a business or becoming an entrepreneur. So you got to understand that you're not the only one that's felt like that. The only difference is between the successful people and the non-successful people is that, the successful was okay taking that leap of faith. When I got that first housing contract that I flipped that I was talking about earlier, my mom was like, well, Austin, what happens if you get a house, but then you don't have money to fund the house? And I looked at her, I was like, shit, I don't know. I'll figure that out when the time comes. Like, you can't get so caught up in the details that you never take action. It's step by step. I always say, people say ready, aim, fire. I say fire, ready, aim. Make the commitment and then figure the rest out on the way down. The world that we live in now with technology, you can literally find anything you want on the tip of your fingers. Like all you got to do is YouTube something, and I promise you can find it out. So don't let fear get in your way. It's all a mental thing, and you just got to believe in yourself and be confident in yourself. But once you get past that fear and actually start doing, there are going to be hard lessons. There's going to be times where you're going to fail. There's going to be times when you fall straight on your face. And the best things to do at that time is lean back into education. So like you said, learn, and then implement. And then you run into something that you don't know, learn, re-implement. You run into something you don't know. It's the same process. Learn, implement, because you'll never know everything. I learn something new every single day. I had to call my title company today on the deal that we're closing and ask a question that I've never seen before. And my team came to me and they're like, yo, like what does this mean? I was like, honestly, I have no idea. It's the first time I've ever seen that. Like, let's call the title company. So, we all run into those things, but you need to lean into education and you need to lean into the professionals around you. So surround yourself with people that know the things that you don't know. That who said it? There's somebody that said, like, I don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I just need to be able to pick up the phone and get an answer to anything that I don't know. So if you just know people that know the answer, that's the same thing as you know. If I have issues with contractors, I call my main general contractor and he'll let me know exactly what I need to know. If I have an issue with money and taxes, I'm calling my CPA and they'll give me the exact answer I need to know. If I have issues with private money lending, I'm calling my buddy that knows private money lending. If I have an issue with subject twos, guess what? I'm calling my buddy that does subject twos. So you just need to be able to pick up the phone or private message somebody on Instagram that has what you want or knows what you need to know. And that's the same thing. You can get an answer like this quick. You don't have to know it all. So when you run into issues, I lean into education, or I lean into the people that are in that field that are professionals in that field. So I don't try to act like I know it all. I don't want to learn everything. Like I want people to do their job. So if I hire a contractor, it's your job to do the contracting work. If I hire a bookkeeper, it's your job to keep my books straight. If I knew how to keep my books straight, I wouldn't need you. So hire people that are professionals, and then they'll lead you to the path that you want to go. But with that, you are going to hire bad people. That again, that's part of the business. I've lost a lot of money by hiring the wrong people, and that's okay. That's part of learning. That's part of that's part of life. So you live and you learn. Hire them. They screw up, fire them. Hire somebody else. Hopefully, it's the right person, and move forward from there. So again, when I run into struggles, I lean into education, I lean into mentors, and I lean into the professionals that I hire to do whatever I need to do.
Amazing, man. I think that one thing that you touched on there briefly that I think is important for anybody out there who is trying to run their own business, young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter. If you want to have multiple streams of income, What Austin's saying is that you need to be able to automate your business. And in business, we have something called opportunity cost.
Yep.
Okay, so if Austin's good at making contacts and going to the country club and shaking hands and getting money for the deals, that's what he's going to do. While he has somebody who's, great at QuickBooks, running the books, somebody who's great on phone calls, doing numbers all day. Your business is a machine. And if you're the person who's running around thinking that you're going to do everything yourself, you got another thing coming for you. And that's how you're going to fail, in my honest opinion. And I'm sure you may feel the same way.
100%, bro. Each individual has a cap to their income. My cap may be 100 grand, your cap may be $500,000, but only you working, there is a cap because there's only so much time in a day. No matter how hard you work, no matter how many extra hours you put in, there's a cap to your income. And the only way to break that cap is to leverage other people's time. That's how you gain access to more time. That's how you produce more. That's how you outsource. That's how you live the life that you want to live, is by having a team that's, there's 10 people working 20 hours a day. That's 200 hours or 2,000. I don't know, whatever the number is, versus just you working 20 hours a day. You get 10 times more done using and leveraging other people. So I couldn't agree more with you.
A common misconception around real estate and real estate investing is that you need your real estate license. Do you have your real estate license? And do you need it?
I do have my real estate license, but I got it before I became an investor. But you absolutely do not need your real estate license to invest. I think there's one state, Illinois, where they're trying to implement laws where you do need your license to invest. To wholesale, not to invest, just to wholesale. But besides that, you do not need a license. If you're buying and selling investment properties on your own behalf, you do not need a real estate license.
You're 27 years old. You got a house paid, you got a house, you got the Rolls Royce, the Wraith, you got the wristwatch, you got the gold on the neck. I wouldn't pin you, and this is this is just honesty, man. I wouldn't pin you as some dude that I'm walking down the street and say, oh, this dude's, this guy's a real estate multimillionaire, real estate investor. Like, this dude has got the suit and tie on. You're yourself, man, and your honesty and your knowledge and your communication skills, man, they're top tier. And I think that I wanted to kind of circle on that. So you got the Wraith, like, you have all this stuff. When did that come? Like, when did you finally say, I can buy this, I can do this? Because a lot of people, like you touched on earlier, 21, 22, okay, you make your first $500,000. Did you go buy your chick 3 purses, your mom a house, your buddy a car, and you know what I mean?
For sure, 100%. To the kind words, I appreciate that. I feel like people relate more when you're real. You can always tell when somebody's fronting because they don't come off genuine and they don't know how to talk and answer questions. But if you're real, that's the only way you can be. So thank you for that. But to your question, the first time I ever splurged on myself, I was 3 years into the game. I was making multiple 6 figures, and I was still driving a '04 Toyota Camry. I could have splurged way before I did. But I'm a big believer of giving up the present giving up the present value of something for a greater future value. So, buying the Rolex when you can only afford one Rolex, that's not a good investment. That's not a good decision, because that money could be used to buy a whole nother rental property that can make you, $500,000 over the next 20 years. Buying the Rolls Royce Wraith, I got that 6 months ago. I made over 7 figures last year. I could have went out and bought a Rolls Royce Wraith, a couple of them, you feel me? But I knew that I had a bigger goal in mind. I continuously put my money back into to deals, back into businesses, back into investments that will produce more income for me when I'm older, because I have the future in mind. I want the freedom when I'm 35, when I'm 40, when I'm 45. I want to do literally anything that I want to do because I know I invested my money properly. And the only way that I splurge and buy something on myself, I set a goal for that. It's a monetary goal and a residual income goal. So what does that mean? So residual income means that I need to invest enough money into other assets that produce more money to me. And I'm not talking about the same business. So like my real estate wholesaling business, like not make an extra 20 grand because I'm already doing that business. I want to create a whole nother business that produces $20,000 for me. Whatever it is for a year. That's how I envision things. So if I want to get a new house and it's going to be 5 grand a month for a mortgage payment, which is 60 grand a year, I need to take my money now and invest it to an entirely new business, a whole nother stream of income to produce 5 grand a month so that I can live in this house for free. Like my whole thing is like, how do I live for free? How do I live the life I want to live and have other people pay for everything that I want? So the Rolls Royce Wraith, I had a monetary goal of making X amount of dollars in a 6-month period. I hit the goal. I invested a ton of money into 9 other rental properties that produced over $3,000 a month net profit to me every single month for the rest of my life. So I hit the monetary goal and I hit the residual income goal. So I bought the Rolls Royce Wraith because I'm not the one paying for it. I produced money, I produced income elsewhere that bought me what I wanted. So you can't get that. You can make money and spend it, make money and spend it. You can do that, but it's a terrible business decision because you're always going to be chasing the wheel. The only way that you get ahead in life is by taking a step back and investing that money now. So then you have more money coming in the future. So, everything that I do, everything that I have is paid for by other people. And that's on purpose. The house that I live in, the cars that I drive, the vacations that I go on, every single thing is paid for by other people because I invested my money first. If you invest your money first, that money will produce money. The investment will produce income that'll cover those, wants and desires that you want, but you don't necessarily need if you invest the money first.
I have a quote that I pretty much live by, man, and it's stuck with me since I was maybe like 15 or 16. Out there hustling just like you were, just anything to get that buck, flipping everything. It don't matter. Anything that I can make a quick buck on, that's what I was doing.
Yep.
And my old mentor told me, if you knew how to use money to earn money, you wouldn't spend it on liabilities. And I'll say that again so everyone can listen. If you knew how to use money to earn money, then you wouldn't spend it on liabilities. So that means if you knew that instead of getting that Louis Vuitton purse for you ladies out there for $3,000, that you could go and invest in property, invest in flipping cars, flipping anything, couches, there's you name it, you can flip it. So if you knew how to use that money to buy more money, you would be able to really just change your life. And it's a whole different outlook when you when you zoom out of this camera of working a 9-to-5 job and getting paid $50,000 a year and living paycheck to paycheck and hoping that you got enough money at the end of the month to go do something. Take the
100%,
time
bro.
now to invest in yourself. Take the time now to invest in your knowledge and gain that knowledge and shake hands and get into uncomfortable situations. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, because the people that make money aren't out there sitting on their ass at home doing nothing, just reading on Instagram and Twitter. Those are the people that are watching us make money. We're out here, we're really doing it. So I had one more technical question that I wanted to ask you, because I think
one quick thing on what you just said. I don't want it to go over people's head. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's something that I live by every single day. Most people live in their comfort zone. There is zero growth in your comfort zone. The only way that you grow is when you're uncomfortable. So I used to, when I was uncomfortable, I'd turn around and walk away. I'd walk into a meeting and people would look at me and I'd be like, oh, like I'm not supposed to be here, and then walk out the door. Now, anytime that I feel uncomfortable, it's not like a belittled me. It's not like a nervous me. It's literally like, oh, bet, like it's time for another breakthrough. And I go at it full force. So that like is very, very important to understand. Like when you're in a point of discomfort, uncomfortability, the only way that you're going to grow at that point is to actually get comfortable doing that, which the only way to do that is by doing it. So what you just said was very impactful. I want to make sure that doesn't go over people's heads.
facts. It's facts. Hey, so the difference between flipping and and owning a property. A lot of people are going to start out with $30,000, $40,000. Let's just say $30,000, $40,000. So they're going to flip a property is the first thing you think, right? You're trying to level up that money so that you can eventually buy and hold, right? Because the goal, from my understanding, and I have limited knowledge, but my goal in 2021 is to master the real estate game. My understanding is that if you're wholesaling or flipping forever, you're running in a rat race, because if you're never owning property, you're never going to have that long-term passive income.
Yep, 100%, bro. That's I don't want to call it a regret because I wouldn't be where I'm at today without it, but that's one of my biggest regrets. I was busy chasing the fast dollar. I was wholesaling and flipping, and I was looking for that next deal every single day. I was going for it. Next deal, next deal, next deal, next deal, next deal. And I made a lot of money doing it, but it was temporary money. And I've used that money to invest and do other things. But I just look back now and think about it. Like, so I own 60 rentals right now, and we've done hundreds of properties. So let's just say I kept half of those properties. I would own, 150, 200 rental properties right now. I'd be making, more money than I knew what to do with. And the appreciation would be crazy. The depreciation would be crazy. The mortgage buy down would be crazy. And the monthly cash flow would be crazy. So I agree with you. You can wholesale and you can flip to make money today, but you have to be comfortable and understand that you have to look at the future. You have to look at rental properties and long-term generational wealth, because that's made the most millionaires ever is rentals, is real estate. So, I say it all the time, like, I make my money in real estate. You don't necessarily have to make your money in real estate. You might make it in stocks, you might make it in flipping sneakers, you might make it in whatever you're doing, but make the money and then put it into real estate. It'll pay you forever for the rest of your life, your kids' life, your kids' kids' life. It'll literally pay you forever. So I agree with you. You have to be conscious of the future and invest today to produce cash flow for the future.
I really want to circle back to something you just said there, because I think that it's probably, if you guys don't, if you guys walk away with anything, I think the most important lesson tonight, because we do have a lot of people who have never even considered real estate investing or thought that it was too far out of reach. Look, real estate investing is for everybody, and it can create generational wealth. Your goal should be to, and maybe it's not for you, but my goal is to create wealth so for my kids and my grandkids and everybody down my lineage. And you can do that by owning property, because over time, historically, property increases. I mean, literally, land property increases. I know Austin talked about it the other day. He wholesaled land. Like, you can buy a square piece of lot that's a dirt and flip it for $20,000, $30,000, or sit on it and sell it for quadruple, pentuple the value in 30, 40 years when they want to pop up a strip mall right down the street. You never
100%.
know what's going to happen. Actually, I had a good friend of mine, which I'll just make this story short. Their family, their grandparents, great grandparents or grandparents, bought property in Los Angeles, years and years ago, because they were farmers. Fast forward, Disneyland blows up, and Disneyland all of a sudden is needs more parking space. So Disneyland offers them, I think it was something like $60 million to buy all of their land, right? So they have $60 million just from owning land, you
Yep.
know? So
But they're
yeah,
not making any more of it. That's one of the most scarce things in the world right now is land. So I'm just trying to own as much of it as I can.
cool. Yeah, it's facts, man. Okay, I wanted to do the giveaway real quick, guys. So we have a giveaway going on. If you guys are ready, type the word Austin in chat. If you can get the Austin spam going, we'll do one lifetime membership giveaway, just for you guys sticking around and learning some free game. You know what's up. You know how the wise guys roll. We're not here to bullshit you guys. We're here to make some money and teach you guys how to make some money. So let's also, while we're doing this, I want to talk about your future plans, man. Where do you want to be, like, and talk maybe about retirement, because in my opinion, retirement is not something that I'm working towards. Like, I love waking up in the morning and doing what I'm doing. And people, a lot of people that are doing the whole 9 to 5 grind, they're ready to just hit 65 and tap out.
Yep, 100%, bro. If you love what you do, they're like there is no retirement. So like I don't have a retirement goal in mind because like I would go crazy just sitting at home watching TV all day. But my long term goal is to get to a point where like the like far goal, $10 million a year net. net. That's very different than gross for everybody that's on the call. Everyone talks about gross numbers. Like all I care about is how much money you're keeping at the end of the day. So 10 million a year net, and have the freedom to do what I want to do from anywhere, from a laptop and a cell phone. So, there's a lot of people that can have brick and mortar and make a lot of money, but like, I don't want that. I don't want to have to be somewhere at all times. I want to have 100% freedom and make $10 million a year net from anywhere in the world at any time. So that's kind of my long-term goal right now.
Awesome, bro. And as far as, operating different businesses, do you see yourself always wanting to find the new, like the new business that you can start? And do you still have that passion and that hunger to get outside of your wheelhouse and try a new business, start a product, anything like that?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Multiple streams of income. That's how you grow to the next level. That's how you produce more income. So, yeah, I'm looking for more opportunities. I diversified into probably 6 or 7 different businesses, this year in 2020 alone. So,
Wow.
absolutely, I think you always need to be looking for the next opportunity, and I think you need to master a skill first, and then look to go into other opportunities.
Yep, it's facts. All right, guys, no more spamming Austin. We got about 45,000 messages right now. The winner's going to be chosen. Don't miss it. We should pop this up right about now. Q Nitro, pop up the winner. Let's see. See if I can miss it. You're missing this right now. There's about 40,000 people. Okay, so it looks like we chose a winner, guys. JT Sokolove won. Has won the giveaway, so you guys don't need to spam Austin anymore. We'll do one more giveaway. Instead of spamming Austin, guys, why don't we drop some questions in here? We got about 10 minutes left, so drop some questions, some comments that you have for Austin, and let's go from there. I've seen this message all night, so I'm going to talk about it first. So my man Boofling says, I'm only 17. I want to get into real estate wholesale. Where should I either start wholesaling or where might I start building the necessary skills to get contacts so that I'm ready when I'm 18?
For sure. Great question. So you technically can't legally sign a contract until you're 18 years old. But, if you do have a creative mind and you have a friend or a parent or a sibling that might be 18 years or older, you can get into the business before turning 18 as long as they're the ones that sign the contract. Just make sure that they obviously pay you. So that's one little hack to that. But as far as like getting the education before turning 18 to do it on your own, it comes from education. So like I have a YouTube channel that has over 100 videos on it that talks about how to wholesale, how to comp houses, how to find sellers, how to find private money, how to manage contractors, how to flip houses, how to do the Burr method. It talks about all those things that you need to know in real estate. So education is number one. Definitely check out the YouTube channel. But it's just learning. If you want to invest in a mentor, that could be something that could take you to the next level. But like I said, when I pay 25 grand, nobody here needs to do that. If you want to, sure, go ahead. But like, you don't need to do that. There's a lot of free information right here from your cell phone. And there's people out there that'll coach you, for a couple $100 or $1,000. So don't go out there and be like, I'm gonna spend 30 grand. You definitely don't need to do that. But yeah, it does start with education for sure.
100%. Hey, so a lot of questions about what your thoughts are on college.
I don't know how blunt I can be with this, but if you're going to be a doctor or a nurse or something that you need a specific degree in, I think there's a place for college for you. I think that, you can go to a school, you can get a degree for that specific degree. If you're going to school, though, because you don't know what to do, you're trying to find out what you're trying to do, you wanted to get into business, you want to get into entrepreneurship, you wanted to get some generic degree, I think college is a complete waste of time. Again, I think there is a time and place for college for the right person, has, no desire, no drive, wants to work a 9 to 5, wants zero pressure. Like, go to college, get a degree, get a good paying job. But for anybody that wants more out of their life, that doesn't want to sit in a cubicle forever, like, I'm not a fan of college. I went to college because I promised my mom, but I dropped out, as soon as I started getting paid. So that's my
A lot of questions asking what your top book, YouTube, anything, your best recommendation to get people like you've lit this spark. So how can we get the fire going?
For sure, no, absolutely. So first thing I would do, I would go to my YouTube channel. Literally, I give 3 videos a week. Got over 100 videos on there. So check out the YouTube channel. That'll get you started. Highly recommended. Books though, the book that I read when I was 19 that changed the game for me was a book that it was a book that was called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's not a real estate book; it's a mindset book. But you have to become the person that you want to become first before you're ever going to get the money that you want to have. So Think and Grow Rich absolutely changed the game for me. I wrote a book that's called From Valet to Millionaire, and the subtitle is the 10 things that they don't teach you to be successful. They's society, they's your teacher, they might be your parents, they might be your colleagues. They are all the people that try and keep you small and talk down and demotivate you. So it's the 10 mental barriers that you're going to have to break through to get to the next level. That's called From Valet to Millionaire. That's on Amazon. In real estate specific books, there's a book called Flip, FLIP, by Nick Ruiz, NICKRUIZ. And then there's another book called The Real Estate Wholesaling Bible. I forget the author of that, but The Real Estate Wholesaling Bible as well. And if you're on my YouTube, there's a link in the video descriptions that'll take you to all those recommended books as well.
Totally. Hey, and just a quick shout out, Austin. I want you to drop your website, your tools. I know you have, I know you have resources out there aside from YouTube too. So everyone's super interested to hear about those.
Yeah. So YouTube's a free platform. I do coach people on how to build their own real estate investment company, scale it to 6 or 7 figures. So if you want to check out what that is, if you go to trainwithaustin.com, www.train with Austin.com, it'll give you more information about potential coaching as well for you.
This question comes up, and it's a question that I've actually had for myself just with the recent increase in, just with TikTok. I think that, like I said, wholesaling is just blown up because it's one of those things that people didn't realize that they could do before. I know for a fact that there's people like yourself and, others out there that have a system in place where you can pump out a few 100,000 calls, because it's a numbers game. So you have the system down. For people that are new, do you think that the market is oversaturated?
No, I don't. Is there competition? For sure. Is there competition in everything though? Absolutely. There's competition in stocks. There's competition in drop shipping. There's competition in working a corporate job. Like there's competition in everything. So I don't think it's oversaturated. There is competition, but like when I got into the game, I was young. I didn't know anything. There were killers in the industry. The market was saturated, and guess what?
Right.
I got in there and built a name for myself. So is it going to take time? Yes. Is it going to have some downtimes? For sure. But it's absolutely 100% possible to start this business. No question in my mind.
My man Andy says, how do you manage your time with your family and friends? I think that it sounds like you're busy most of the time.
No, great question. One of my whys is to be present, be present with the ones that I love. I know I'm in a grind mode right now. I'm young. I think there's a very small window of opportunity on some social media platforms to get the eyeballs that, like I said, eyeballs is currency. So I had a conversation with them. I think it's all about expectations. I'm like, hey, these next few months, I'm going to be going very, very hard because this is what I envision the outcome to be. And, if they're with you, they're going to be okay with that. But outside of like this window of opportunity, in my opinion, right now, having time set aside, the evenings, turn off your phone, when you get home, when you go see your family on the weekends, FaceTime people, call people, still be present. But again, the beautiful thing about the day and age that we live in is you can do your work from this. You can literally be anywhere in the world doing deals, making money from a cell phone. So, you can be present and, you can be with somebody at all times at the end of the day. So it's a balancing act for sure. Are some people going to be, a little upset because you don't spend as much time with them? Yeah. But if you address it and you set the proper expectations as to why you might be working, double time today or something, I think that's fine. Again, to have that end goal in mind, because that's where we all want to get to at the end of the day.
2020 was a weird year. COVID-19, a lot of people would expect that, businesses like yours and, a lot of people out there, especially the Airbnb people, I know that was a hustle, that you shit the bed in a sense. Tell us about how that actually worked out for you.
For sure. So I got some Airbnbs. When it all hit, everybody and their mother canceled. We had a bad 30 days. Everything picked right back up after that. Right now, I don't watch the news, but there's a supposed spike in COVID cases again right now. That's what the news is saying. So people are canceling Airbnbs again right now. So we're probably going to have another bad 30 days or so. But outside of just those bad 60 days, financially, this is one of my best years. It might be my best year ever. Did we have to pivot in some scenarios? Yes. Did I have to invest into other businesses that produce income? For sure. But like that's part of the process. Like as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you need to be able to pivot and adjust. If you don't, like Blockbuster, you're going to go bankrupt. COVID, is here. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. You will have to adjust, but if you do it properly, you can make out. You can make a lot of money. The thing a lot of people don't realize is when shit hits the fan and people lose money, money doesn't just disappear. Like money does, it doesn't just dissipate into thin air. Somebody is receiving that money. Millions of people are losing money. There's hundreds of people that are collecting those millions of people's dollars. So if you can pivot and put yourself in a position where that money's flowing now, you can make out, you can be filthy rich. So, I think there's massive opportunity right now in the specific industries.
Absolutely. Hey, all right, guys, we're going to do our last giveaway, followed up by one last question, and then we're going to wrap this joint up. It's about 7 o'clock on the West Coast and 10 o'clock I think it's 10 o'clock for you, right, Austin?
For sure.
Yeah, still it's 10 o'clock, but my man's grinding. Hey, so for the last giveaway, we're going to do code word Austin again. Run it back up. Let's get 1,000 people saying Austin. And reminder, check out his YouTube. We're just scratching the surface here, guys. This is all stuff to get your brain thinking, but go spend some time and research and take advantage of these free tools that people like myself and Austin are providing to you guys. We really want to see. I find joy, and I think Austin does as well. Taking in and helping other hustlers and other entrepreneurs and showing them the way. Because I know, for damn sure that's what I needed, and that's what I got when I was hustling. So, one last question for you. What is one thing that you would tell yourself from your 10 years ago, looking back? What would you tell yourself?
For sure. So I actually just dropped a video this morning on YouTube that was the 10 things I wish my 16-year-old self would have known. So definitely go listen to that. But one of the biggest things for me is something that I learned, I don't know, when I was 18 or something. One of my mentors told me, they put into perspective the value of time. What time actually is and what it means to people. There's only one thing in this world that you can never have more of. One thing and one thing only, and it's time. You can get more money. You can get more, men and women. You can get more. You can even buy air. You can buy oxygen tanks that you can breathe air. Like you can get more of anything in the world except time. Once your time's gone, once it's passed, you're never getting it back. So that when you're sitting there and you're thinking about starting a business, don't think about, I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll do it next year. That year's gone. You will never get it back. When you're taking a phone call or you're doing work, but you're not being productive, you're losing time. Time is the most valuable asset in the world. So when that got put into perspective for me, I no longer waste time. I no longer, go out and party all the time and drink all the time and dilly dag on my phone and sit there and scroll through social media, because I know that that's the most valuable thing in the world ever. And it's the only thing that you can never get back.
Man, free game, guys. I'm telling you, you're not going to hear this at school. You're not going to hear this at your high school, college. You're not going to hear it from your mom and pop. It's Wiseguy Investing, the collaboration with Austin Rutherford. It was overdue. The people wanted it. They might not have even known that they wanted it, but now they need it. So let's do the last giveaway winner. Nitro, if you can kick that off for me, brother. Let's see where we're at here. Alrighty, and the last winner is, let me scroll up, Soccer Gladiator 18. Congratulations. Just shoot us a DM, shoot any of our support members a DM, and we'll get you guys taken care of with those lifetime memberships. I want to say thank you guys, everybody that came and joined the stream. We had thousands of people circling through at once, but a core group of you guys stayed around, and it just kept increasing, and the questions kept increasing. These comments are just, Austin, you can't see them, but man, you really are inspiring people. You kept it real. And that's the one thing that of all the stuff that you're talking about, you keep it real. You keep it straight with people. There's no bullshit. It's no games. It's no walking on glass. You keep it real. So I appreciate that. And we really, really appreciate you taking your time at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night, coming and talking to our group. We hope to, make you proud. We'd love to have you come back on in the future and catch up and see where you're at, where we're at, and go from there. And once again, you can shout out all of your socials, and we'll make sure that we get you followed on there.
No, for sure, bro. I appreciate you having me on here. Connecting with people, like-minded individuals, is something I enjoy, and helping and giving back. So hopefully it added value to you and your audience. Like we've said a couple of times, I'm on Instagram at Austin Rutherford Official. I'm on TikTok at Austin Rutherford, and I'm on YouTube at Austin Rutherford. And if you want more information, go to trainwithaustin.com.
That's it, folks. You heard it here. Free game, Wiseguy Investing, Austin Rutherford. Thank you guys for tuning into the live stream, and we'll see you guys next time.